up on Fulton Today, time is running out to make sure you have affordable health care, what you need to know before the March 31st deadline. And find out what the county is doing to make sure your vote counts in this year's primary and general elections. Fulton Today is next.
From the Government Center in downtown Atlanta, you're watching Fulton Today with Shania Chavis.
Welcome to Fulton Today, everybody. I'm Shania Chavis. The nation's Health and Human Services Secretary makes another stop in the county in the final push to get millions of Americans enrolled in the health insurance marketplace. FGTV's Priscilla Ortega has our story.
Shania, U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services Kathleen Sebelius came here to tell residents once again about the Affordable Health Care Act. She has visited the county 3 times in the last 6 months to make that push. 3 visits, but one important message: get insured before the March 31st deadline.
For a family of 4 who makes $50,000 a year, you could find a plan for $138 a month. That covers all 4 members of the family.
This time, Kathleen Sebelius visited the Center for Black Women's Wellness to stress how affordable the marketplace is for people.
Here in Atlanta, if you're 27 years old and make $25,000 a year, you can find a plan that would cost you $105 a month. My guess is you can't find a pair of running shoes for $105 a month. I know you can't find a cell phone plan for $105 a month.
This final push comes after months of an all-out campaign to implement the law. It started in August when commissioners voted to support it, in part because of the cost-saving benefit.
We have been aggressive as a county, and we see the benefit of it. It translates to less of a burden that the county has in terms of supporting Grady Hospital in the future.
Some of the commissioners also spoke to President Obama during a conference call as he pushed to get more people covered. So the county's Cooperative Extension Office is working to make sure everyone who wants a one-on-one session with the navigator to go over the Marketplace website can get one. Now, if you need help signing up for the Affordable Care Act, go to Fulton County's website, or you can also contact Cooperative Extension to set up a one-on-one session with the navigator. I'm Priscilla Ortega for FGTV.
Thank you, Priscilla. Meanwhile, Fulton voters have more opportunities to cast their ballots early in this year's primary and November general election. Citizens must register by April 21st to vote in the May 20th primary elections. County commissioners, state house and Senate seats, school board candidates, and local measures will be on the ballot. This year, registration and elections is making the process to cast your vote a lot more convenient by expanding the number of early voting locations to 19 and extending the time.
Early voting lasts for 3 weeks. The first week will be 8 to 6 Monday through Friday at 7 locations. In week 2, we will have 19 locations that will operate from 8 to 6 Monday through Saturday. Week 3 will be 19 locations that will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday.
If you have questions and need more information, go to the Registration and Elections website. And with every election comes dozens of election signs all across intersections and in residential areas. Well, here is the rule. Signs are allowed to be posted 90 days prior to an election. Code enforcement officers remind campaigns about the other regulations regarding the placements of election signs.
Signs must be mounted to wooden stakes or wire frames. They have to be placed in the ground. We allow those signs to be placed within 10 feet of the right-of-way. Those signs are not allowed to be placed on telephone poles or trees.
Regulations also require that the signs come down immediately following the election. Now, there are fines associated with failure to follow the rules.
So we're very vigilant in making sign cases and finding those individuals and putting them before the judge, because of which time the judge will issue an order to have those signs removed by the violator, in addition to assessing fines of $1,000, $1,000 per count per violation.
You can find more information on the sign ordinance on the county's website under Planning and Community Development, or by calling the Code Enforcement Tel Line. Fulton's justice partners and other elected and appointed officials resumed talks on how to deal with issues plaguing their system. The Smart Justice Advisory Council convened another session at juvenile court. The group's mission is to identify policies and practices to resolve the high rate of incarceration and recidivism in the county. The group is made up of top elected and appointed officials from all around the metro area.
We are all very interested in tackling our repeat offender recidivism problem. And I think far too often you have different political entities pointing the finger at the other as to who's to blame for the problem. It's our problem as a community. And what I proposed here was that we start with the same numbers, agree as to what the numbers represent, and then on a regular basis kind of tackle what do we need to do individually and collectively to work the numbers so that we are reducing the numbers. And I think that if we do that and commit to that, we will go a long way in addressing what's on the minds of the community.
Basically, we've identified what we thought were issues across the board, and then now to take the next steps to identify the solutions and to drill down as to implementation, as to feasibility, as to budget. And we've eliminated the things that we cannot control from all various aspects, and we're trying to get solutions today that aligns itself with the mission, visions, and the values of SJAC, Smart Justice Advisory Council.
Chairman John Eves pulled this group together in part to save taxpayer dollars. Fulton's justice system makes up over 40% of the county's budget each year. And a judge from Japan gets an up-close look at the justice system and the county jail. Judge Ryo Takashima took a tour of the Rice Street facility and observed Superior Court Magistrate Judge Walter Lovett at work.
So you need to report within 2 business days of getting out, wherever you get out from.
Takashima will spend a year in this country studying the U.S. justice system.
In Japan, we don't have the courtroom in jail because we have the similar system to the first appearance in this country. We have similar system, but in such proceedings, the jail officer take inmates to courthouse, and we have the special space underground courthouse.
The U.S. exchange program with Japan has a long history. The judge is the 19th visiting judge from Japan.
I'd like to express my gratitude again. Thank you so much, Fulton County.
Takashima was appointed judge 5 years ago and expects to be reappointed. And still to come, South Fulton residents consider the revitalization of an area in their community. Stay with us.
You're watching Fulton Today.
A major overhaul is planned for the revitalization of one heavily traveled corridor, and former inmates and gang members join the county commissioner to keep kids on the right path. Here's this week's District by District coverage. Fulton County Chairman John Eves says he is hoping for a good report this year about customer satisfaction at Grady Hospital. The Board of Commissioners allocated over $61 million in 2014 for the health system. $16 million of that is for the hospital's debt services. The chairman says the county has appropriated close to $500 million to Grady over the past 10 years.
The commission, we are very, very determined to make sure that Grady Hospital not only provides good medical care to our citizens, but we want to make sure that the customer service experience is exemplary. On par with Piedmont and Northside, et cetera, within the region. So we're going to be working with the hospital to make sure that they continue with an upward trajectory in terms of better customer service.
The chairman says though the hospital's budget was modified this year, the board expects the level of service to be maintained. The 2014 class of Leadership Johns Creek takes a field trip to the Fulton County Government Complex. As a part of Government Day, the District 3 group heard from a number of county officials during their tour. The trip to the Fulton complex helped them understand more about their government.
We've taken a tour, we've heard from the county manager, as well as the Superior and State Court judges, in order to give this group of leaders from Johns Creek the opportunity to understand how their county government works and to take that back to our local community in order to help spread the word about what's going on in Fulton County.
Leadership Johns Creek has helped me double than anybody else because I'm also a Fulton County employee, so it has helped me understand the governance of a city government as well as the county government. Today we were at the Capitol and we understood the importance of civic duties, ownership, taking ownership of your own city responsibilities, and how can you be more civically involved in making policy changes.
Leadership Johns Creek is made up of North Fulton business, government, nonprofit, religious, and citizen leaders. The organization is now accepting applications for the 2015 class. You can visit leadershipjohnscreek.com for more information. District 5 Commissioner Emma I. Darnell publicly applauds the county's facilities and transportation crews for the work they did during the recent ice and snowstorm. The vice chair was joined by her colleagues in a board meeting to officially proclaim the day in their honor.
As a result of the outstanding dedication and hard work of the Facilities and Transportation Department teams, citizens and public safety personnel were able to travel more safely and return to workable facilities during and after 2 separate winter weather events.
During both weather incidents, the transportation crews responded to hundreds of work order requests to pre-treat bridges and key roadways.
They really work some extremely long hours, basically sacrifice their family time, provide the services to the citizens, to the community, and I can't thank them enough in terms of what they did and the challenges that they overcome.
Fulton's Facilities and Transportation Services is responsible for the maintenance of 375 county buildings, 616 miles of roads, and 48 bridges. District 6 Commissioner Joan Garner meets with county staff to iron out the final details of the 2014 Youth Symposium titled Don't Touch the Fire. Fulton's Children and Youth Director Melinda Pruitt and Program Coordinator Reginald Prosley briefed the commissioner on the plan for the summit. Young people from all across the county will have close encounters with former inmates and gang members, as well as lawyers, educators, and behavioral specialists at the event to be held at the Hyatt Regency.
There's so many young people out there that get, lost in the crowd, fall through the cracks. We know that they need resources, need help. This is an opportunity to really step up and speak out and just bring our young folks into the fold.
The Don't Touch the Fire Youth Symposium is just one of the many events planned for young people this year. It's an invitation-only program. You can contact Reginald Prosley for more information. And finally, District 7 residents packed the New Life Presbyterian Church to discuss ways to turn Old National Highway into a good thing. Commissioner William Bill Edwards and county staff wanted to hear from the community about what they envisioned for the 5.5-mile stretch in unincorporated South Fulton.
My vision for this area is to just see more green space, to be able, as a young working professional, to be able to come home and to be able to exercise in my neighborhood, to have viable eating options, healthier eating options for this area, to be able to have major retailers and restaurants return back to this area so that I feel good about spending my earned dollars in the area in which I live.
Fulton Police explained how it has already started its effort to clean up the area. They gave an update on the business that officers shut down the week before the meeting.
When I look at the Hood Mart closing and so forth, I happened to be driving by there when that was occurring, and that was a joy to see, first of all. And I can look at the decrease in some of the crime in terms of prostitution and so forth. That's not as visible as it was. And it lets me know that there are a number of people, the law enforcement agencies, that's working a good bit behind the scenes. And I think that certainly should be commended.
The commissioner plans to host another meeting in June to provide an update on the revitalization campaign. And when we come back, what new state regulations on hotels and motels mean for county businesses and its customers. Stay with us.
Fulton Today.
Stricter regulations aimed at making hotels and motels more safe are underway. Now, these changes come following a modification for a host of state laws. FGTV's Lynn Vaughn has our story.
From raw sewage, trash violations, and exposed wiring. Over the last couple of years, code enforcement has had to shut down some motels. Those infractions violated health code standards. Now, new county regulations are even tougher. So the county's Environmental Health Services Division is holding seminars to tell owners about the changes.
The inspection form itself has changed. Now we have critical violations on the inspection form. So if you have presence of insects, rodents, bed bugs, that's a critical violation. If there's a presence of sewage in your facility, that's also a critical violation.
Other changes include pesticide use records must be available, linens must be changed after each occupancy, and the inspection form will be more visible to guests.
Actually having that permit and that inspection report where people can see it and it's visible, information is important for people to be able to make decisions about where they're going to rent a particular room.
Some hotel managers claim very little changes, if any, will be necessary for them.
Actually, most of our stuff's already in place. It's just good to find out that we're already operating in accordance with what's been regulated.
At first, the county will use the new inspection form and the old one so owners can compare it. Then they will move to the new form on the next inspection. Reporting for FGTV, I'm Lynn Vaughn.
Thank you very much, Lynn. Meanwhile, county health professionals explained what the FDA's new proposed food nutrition labels would mean to you. The labels have not changed since they were introduced in 1993. Well, if approved, the new labels would change serving size requirements to more accurately reflect what people eat or drink. It would also bring more attention to calorie count, potassium, and vitamin D. There will also be a line for added sugars.
The recommendations are that women have about 6 teaspoons of added sugar in a day, and men have 9 teaspoons of added sugar in a day. An example of that is that one 12-ounce can of soda already has 10 teaspoons of added sugar. So it is important to be very partial with the amount of sugar you add to your foods.
If the changes are approved, the food industry will have 2 years to make the changes. As you've probably figured out, having a green thumb could maybe help you to stay healthier and active. This spring, Cooperative Extension is hosting several gardening presentations. The events at the Perry Homes Library branch explain when is the best time of year to plant and other gardening basics.
The good thing about growing your own food is that you have an idea. You know where your food is coming from. You know that your food is not immersed with pesticides.
The workshops also go over the do's and don'ts to make sure your lawn will stay healthy all summer long. And you can go to the library system's website to see where the next classes will take place. And still to come on Fulton Today, a look behind some of the pillars of the civil rights movement. Stay with us.
You're watching Fulton Today.
An activist and educator who documented the civil rights movement has a message for young people. Dr. Doris Derby's photography documentary is now displayed at the Abernathy Arts Center. It's called Women, Agents of Change in the American Civil Rights Movement. The exhibit features 45 photographs of women who played a key role in the movement. Dr. Derby hopes the pictures will be an inspiration, especially to the younger generation.
Well, I hope that young people especially will see that when the civil rights movement was in its heyday, in its prime, people were young and were involved, and they are well known today.
The exhibit runs until March 29th. For specific times, just go to thefultonarts.org. And finally, Fulton's Parks and Recreation basketball teams have another successful season. This year, 5 boys teams went to the state tournament. The teams were from Burdett and Sandtown Parks. The 12 and under teams made it the furthest and went to the championship game, but lost in a nail-biter to finish in second place. The program wouldn't continue to be as successful if it wasn't for the hard work by the players and the coaches.
We treat it like a family approach. All coaches work together. We offer coaches the opportunity to experience clinics. We offer the kids opportunities to experience clinics. It's just a family-type atmosphere.
Parks and Rec offers various sports at its locations around the county for boys and girls. To see a list of the programs available, go to that website right there on your screen. And before we go, our reminder that we'd like to hear from you about the stories and programs right here on FGTV. Go to our website to take a survey or email or call us. The number 404-612-8317. The email address is fgtv.feedback@fultoncountyga.gov. You can follow us on twitter.com/FGTV, find us on Facebook, and watch us on YouTube. Well, that does it for this edition of Fulton Today. I'm Shania Chavis. Thank you for joining us. Join us each week for news around and about Fulton County.